All right, so I'm gonna try and be quick for these, just to give you the sequence that I like to go through. It kind of makes sense, I think. I like to hold this stretch for 30 seconds is more than enough. I actually like to, for example, go into my stretch, kind of get comfortable, sink in deep. Don't push past where it hurts, just kind of relax into it. Once it doesn't hurt so much, you kind of get used to the position. I want you to kind of slowly work into getting a little more deeper into the stretch until you kind of reach your max, for lack of better terms, at the moment. Kind of get out of it, shake it off, and then come back to it and see how your flexibility feels. All right, so kind of go through that sequence for each stretch. And now I'm going to go through my sequence of stretches. All right, so I'm going to start with touching your toes. Get there. I like to go down to the right, focusing on this leg. Go down to the left, focus on this leg. Come back to the middle, really looking to dig in deep there. Once I get there, I'll come back to my feet, shake it out a little bit. I call it kind of like a sumo lotus. So almost like you're trying to do like a sumo deadlift, you know? I'm gonna flare my knees and my toes out. And I add the lotus part because this just kind of feels like the lotus stretch to me. I really get down nice and deep. I can pretty much touch the floor. And then I use my elbows to kind of force my knees out and really focus on the adductors there. All right, get in there. My next stretch is probably one of my favorites. I'm not even really sure why. It just hits the point for me that always seems to ache. So I sink into it's essentially just a lunge. I try to keep suspended. Try not to let my knee touch because then, you know, kind of takes all the pressure out of the stretch. I'll support myself where needed. I like to sink in nice and deep and really exaggerate that back leg so I can extend that range of motion. Once I kind of find my sweet spot, I like to lean into it, and it really opens that backside on this leg. I'm not really sure how else to hit that part of the leg. That seems to work for me though. And then switch sides, do the other side. All right. After that, I work to sit down. I'll sit down in my V-split, like so. Really look to get in nice and deep. Then it's kind of back to the same. Bring the right leg in, focus down on the left. Bring the left leg in, focus down nice and deep on the right. Then I come into my lotus. Right now here, I don't just like to pull my heels to my butt, which is kind of what you see people do. They just heels to the butt, hold your feet, kind of just bounce their legs here. I actually like to use my elbows and deliberately try to open my hips up. And once I kind of get my full range of motion with my elbows pushing down, I try to push and flare my knees down as much as I can to really open my hips up. You'll feel it, all right? Once you go through those stretches, I like to go right over left, and then we're going to go through some familiar ones here. Some people like to use their knee to bring this leg up. That's fine. It's the same. I actually sometimes like to kind of hook my shin and hug my knee and kind of play with the range of motion here. Come back, do the other side. Whichever way, you can do both. You can do this with the knee as one stretch. Come back, hug the knee as another stretch, because this definitely focus more on the glutes. Once you're here, kind of stay here, get comfortable, go right on over. Felt my back crack. Come back to the other side, do the arm over. All right, once you get here, I don't have my mat, so for the sake of not hurting my head on my hardwood floor here, typically I'm going to start with my neck bridges. I don't like really typically going, don't roll your neck like in a circle, only do straight lines. If you're going to do side to side, here, 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 or here, you really shouldn't twist the spine that acutely, you know. It's really not good for your vertebrae. So I'm going to go, I go through my front bridge. We'll call this a scorpion for my lack of yoga terminology. All right, I'm not doing anything fancy with my legs, just really trying to sink my hips in deep. I'm here. All right, I'll come back here, hands and knees, arch the back, dip the back. I really like to open my hips here. I'm not sure if that's yoga appropriate, but I like to do it. All right, here. Once you kind of go through that sequence, I like to go, call it like the sitting S. It's like S mount style. One hip or one leg in front of me here, and my other leg trailing behind me like so. Try to get my face to the floor, try to kind of hug my knee as much as I can and really open my hips up. My back leg, I try to keep it straight. You know, if you're cutting it at an angle, then you're just robbing yourself of your stretch. Kind of come around, do the same. Keep that leg back. Try to keep this foot at like a 90 degrees. Sink in nice and deep. This is another one of my favorite stretches. There, I think yoga, they call this the fetal pose. Just get comfortable here. Almost like sinking into your turtle. All right, once I get there, I'm going to roll over and I'm going to do my neck bridges. All right, on my back. So I'll go front to front. Not looking for like touching the ground with my hands. I'm just looking to get full extension in my neck here. Really get on your toes to get that extension. Just looking to go forward and backward. Do that a little bit, kind of get comfortable on your neck. And then do your side touches. You can do 5, 10, whatever works for you. Really want to keep your neck strong and loose. And then after that, it's a simple little, just a little hip bridge. Get up on my toes, really extend them hamstrings and my calves. That's it. To me, I mean, most people are familiar with stretches. Most people have seen about every stretch you can think of for Lord knows how many times they've seen it in their life. But to me, the point that I tend to focus on, that I find the most important, is like getting comfortable in the stretches that aren't very comfortable, where you don't feel very flexible. Kind of allow yourself to settle in for an extended period of time, 30 seconds, a minute, you know, whatever you can stand, and try to build on top of that. Try to extend your range of motion, or your range of stretch. I don't even know if that's a thing, but you get the point. Focus there. Kind of come out of it, let your body, let the elasticity of your muscles settle in, and let everything kind of contract again, and then hit it again and see if it feels like you're making even the tiniest bit of progress. You know, maybe that stretch is just a little bit easier to dig into than it was before. And to me, that's what I'm looking for. I want to, if I'm doing these stretches, I want them to make, I'm hoping they add my flexibility, or add to my flexibility. So how am I going to know if I'm adding to my flexibility? Extend, you know, test my range of motion and see how it's going. Tell me what you think. Give me some feedback. If it sucks, it sucks. No hard feelings.